Have you ever wondered how to create true financial abundance and wealth as a projector, and how to do it in a way that creates lasting financial freedom and not just those shorter spurts or bursts of money injections that come here and there and that then they leave you again with distress and financial anxiety and those feelings of scarcity in between? So, let's talk about this today. I'm here for you without makeup, but I had to come on and do this because I'm feeling this needs to be shared today. And it's much more important that you hear this than me having mascara on. So let's talk about the concept in this context of financial distress as an illusion. And I know this might ruffle some feathers or might make you feel, or some people feel a certain way, but it can feel really, really real. It can feel so true. And it is also a physical world reality that there are bills to be paid, that things cost money, that Trader Joe's doesn't give us our groceries for free. So how can you say, Alex, that financial distress is a concept of illusion when I'm feeling the effects of me having to pay rent or mortgage or money payments or insurance payments or kids' school items or whatever it is in the real world? This is not an illusion. And so I want to dive deeper into this concept with you today to give you an elevated understanding so that you can move beyond those cycles of creating temporary financial, I don't want to even call it abundance, but that you can create those temporary financial money bursts. And then you're creating this pattern, and I want you to have the tools and the understanding so that you can create something that feels stable and growing over a long period of time. So this is why we're here today. Um, so first of all, there's always I like to start with this that as a human, we are on a journey, as you may have noticed. So the part of us that is soul led, where you have already said yes to things on a soul level, where you're already totally aligned with the truth and the mission and the gifts that you're here to share, and living the best life that you possibly can, because this is what your soul is always guiding you towards, even if it sounds or looks counterproductive or counterintuitive at some points. And the creator is always guiding you in that way too. The universe hits you with a hammer over the head if you're not listening. So, whatever we're doing, wherever we're going, whatever side roads we've taken in our life, the universal reroute is always to the best life that we can live. And that includes financial prosperity and abundance. And so that stands directly. Some might feel opposite, but this is the other part of being human, is the human piece, right? The 3D piece, where things that we need in the real, let's not call it the real world anymore, but in the 3D world, in the visible, in the tactile, in the physical realm, where we're creating everything that is spiritual first. But here, a lot of us tend to make this the root cause, the 3D world, the physical world, the root cause of results, as including our financial abundance. And so this is where it differs so much. And I often talk about this when we do things in a way that generators do it. And generators, it's not offensive. It's just with that tank full of energy they have in their sacral, they can make so much more happening just through the doing, even though mindset and energetics and spiritual background helps them as well to be more efficient and productive. But with an undefined sacral, and especially as a projector, you're probably feeling this a lot, but also for reflectors and manifestors, it is really more about that understanding that we are creating whatever we are creating, we have to create it in the spiritual world first. So spiritual financial abundance, like now you're like, Alex, now you're completely taking off. How do I create spiritual financial abundance? So there are many concepts around this, and a lot of them are rooted, for example, in the ancient wisdoms of Kabbalah, but a lot of these principles can also be found in other ancient texts like the Bible, even though I'm not very much of a Bible person, so don't quiz me on any of that, right? I understand more, and not even in a large way, but in a beginner level that is sufficient to help me understand these concepts. And having already created a lot of good results in my life and business, and the Kabbalistic principles, which are the ancient it's not religious, it's more that they're the energetic, the spiritual principles behind how what we create in the unseen world is then also going to be reflected in the physical world. So for an undefined sacral, without that energy tank, this is how we are making anything happen in the world through our doing, but by doing it in the spiritual, in the unseen realm first. And if you're an astrology nerd or you understand the astrology wheel, that is everything that is 12th house and or Pisces energy, because Pisces rules the 12th house. So with that being said, living the best life that you can, also financially, it still will involve going through all the challenges and the human tests, but also at the same time understanding that what they are is just a test to bring you to your higher level, and it's not something that's going to that's here to make you miserable, or that's here to keep you in suffering. That's not at all the purpose of these human tests and challenges. And that's when you get to that level of understanding, and which I'm hoping to help you with today to ground more into that, is you will also then have that feeling of deep fulfillment and happiness despite challenges, despite no, not even call it struggle anymore, because it's not struggle, it's more discomfort, unknown, pain, doubts still come up, all that kind of stuff, but we're seeing them in a different way because we're understanding that this is where we're creating our new financial reality in the spiritual dimension, in the unseen realm. So this is where it stands in opposition when you're a person who has said yes to creating financial abundance on a soul level through serving with their gifts and saying yes to living the best life that they can, versus someone who still buys into the illusion because it feels very real. And that's why it's so easy to do. And that's why we're all doing it until a certain point in time, until we understand, okay, that's not going to change anything because I've tried that for so long to create a different financial reality in the physical realm. But then changing that understanding that it is an illusion, that none of this is true, that yes, it feels very real and stressful in my body, and I'm having a nervous system response that feels like survival mode when I'm feeling anxiety over my, how do you call it? I'm feeling anxiety over my financial situation and hardship. But the difference is here, are you a person who believes that this is the truth? Or are you a person that believes that this is the test that you're meant to overcome to then create a new reality? Because when you're believing the story that there isn't enough, you're always going to recreate it. And you can never, like, there's this saying in training or in working out, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something along the lines of you can't out exercise a bad diet, right? So in our case with the undefined sacral, you can't, how do I best say this? Please make it come through. You can't outdo, no, this is bad. This is bad. You can't, okay, I'm going to have to think about this, but you get the concept, right? All the doing that you're going to be doing without changing the concept behind it and sending it up and creating it in the spiritual realm first, you cannot outdo that with physical actions of using the right sales strategy or learning yet another DM marketing or selling script, you can, or learning how to do more reels. Yes, it's very, very helpful to have good tools and to know selling skills and marketing skills, especially when you have a business. But it's that understanding, and the only difference is that you are now shifting your understanding to knowing that you're creating it in the spiritual realm first. So how to do that? Let's get into the solution of this whole thing more. So the short of it is, and I'm looking at my notes here so that I don't miss anything, but the short of it is that it's trusting the creator's support in your mission. Short of it. Trusting that if you have that feeling, that soul drive, that soul urge to serve, to bring your gifts into the world, that of course you're going to be supported. That of course the resources are going to show up. But the creator is not going to send it to you first because you're going to have to create it in the spiritual world first, which means including, and this is, in my opinion, the true meaning of surrender. It's not, surrender doesn't mean I lie on my couch and do the projector thing, what they all say, and lay my feet up and don't do anything and I wait for the invitation. That's not surrendering. That's giving up. Just kidding. Sometimes we all need a nap and a little couch time, but the active trusting, what does that look like? If I trusted, and you can ask yourself that in your own timing or maybe in your journal, if I trusted that the creator is going to fully support my soul's mission and that when I'm doing what I'm feeling called to do in the world and that what I feel passionate about, when I do that, that I'm fully resourced and supported, and that financial scarcity is a thing of the past. But that is a belief that you have to settle in, that you have to ground in, that you have to cultivate in yourself before the creator is actually going to send you something. So how that looks in the coaching world, for example, because I'm a business coach myself, I see a lot of other people in the coaching industry, and one of the most common things that I hear people say in this regard is, for example, I'm going to start working with you once I have the funds or once I have more money. But all the while, and not just to me, but that's just a common one that a lot of people who are more in the beginnings of this journey, and very understandably, right, because they don't know this concept, it's very understandable that they would say such a thing because that's how it sounds very logical. Once I have more money, then I can put it toward this thing, this mission, then I can put it toward my business and grow it. But what the creator actually wants you to do and what the creator needs you to ground into, especially with a undefined sacral, is that unlimited trust and surrender that you have the creator's support and that the resources will show up when you listen to the divine guidance and when you're doing the work that you're meant to be doing in the world. And just even from my coaching practice, I'm sure other coaches have way more success stories. If we all put them together, that would be such a beautiful library. But even from me, like most of my clients who invest with me high ticket, they're going to get a high ticket resource injection right back into their business, often before our first call. And that is such a beautiful testament for me for this concept of they're trusting themselves, but not as much with showing up, that too, but they're trusting themselves and their trust of the mission of the universe being behind it, and it shows. It's always a beautiful surprise, but it happens so much more often than not. And so for many people, especially for those that are kind of familiar with that concept, but still not kind of feeling the results of it, feeling the reality of it happening, what is happening that a part of you is still doubting this concept. And I had this just on a Q&A call in my membership the other day, where somebody highly spiritual and very soul aligned, and we uncovered just through a few questions that there was still a significant part of her that wasn't trusting, that when she actually follows her creativity, and creativity always being the expression of the creator moving their light through you into the world, which is what the creator wants you to express in the world, that when she follows completely her creativity and brings it into the world, that the creator is going to support her. And when we uncovered that, there were tears, and those tears are the cleansing. Those tears are the tears that open up the channel, because once you understand, even though you thought you get this concept and you're fully trusting and surrendering, but you're not seeing the financial results yet, then I want you to go look for that piece of you where you don't trust yet, where you're like, okay, but if I gave everything I had into my mission, would I trust that I'm okay? Would I trust the creator? And that's how you become more like the creator. That's where you become really empowered, because you don't have any training wheels anymore at this point. And this is the stuff that the universe supports, because then the universe sees how serious you are about bringing this light, bringing this mission, bringing this healing into the world. So serving the world, and what I wrote down here is, true abundance comes because you accept the creator as your source of abundance. Not other people, not your expertise, not your skills. The creator works through other people to pay you, but it's because you fully surrender. It's not because you have all the skills. And that's where I say that often too. Two people, whether that's in sports or wherever, or in business, who have the same skills and experience, one completely relies on their human part, on their physical strength, on their expertise, their skills, on their business coaches, on their sales scripts. And one has the same skills and has fully surrendered to the creator, to the divine, and understands that the creator and the divine is the source of all abundance. And they've got completely surrendered and trust that that's coming through. That person is going to have the advantage. And that's what I got for you today. So just as a quick recap, solution is trusting in the creator's support of your mission completely, and knowing that you're always fully supported when you're listening to your soul, when you're listening to the creator, and that the creator wants you to have financial abundance. Because once you say yes to doing it this way, you're going to go big. And in order to go big, you actually need the financial resources. So all the financial resources are going to get shoveled into your direction, but it is going to require you to have that full trust and surrender, that the resourcing is going to show up when you show your leadership and go first. And going first means complete trusting that you're always going to be financially fully supported when you step into your mission. I hope this is helpful for you. Comment, like, subscribe, forward it to a friend if you find it helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.